Welcome to AITV Starship.
Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCauley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that amaze. Deep dives come and lighten up your days. Cool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out. I'm here bringing high-tech comic energy. AITV Starship. News deep dives and creation. AITV,
hey, Rick.
Starship.
Here we are. Yeah, we're live. We're live and pumping right now. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Okay.
Nothing going on in AI this week at all.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, not much. Not much. I mean, it's another day in the neighborhood. I think. What do you think is the biggest story happening today, Brendan?
I'm going to jump on the government censorship bandwagon of vetting all of the AI frontier models and the people who use them. That seems pretty significant.
I think there's a reason for that, and I think I'm not too mad about the general idea, but here's the big story, which we'll be talking about more. But what the government is saying is these frontier models can do some serious damage. I mean, they can get through, encryption that's like insane. So what's happening right now, both for ChatGPT, thank God it's for both, all three of them, I guess, not just Claude being picked on because they don't want to play the government overreach game, but so they're going to be requiring some sort of identification for people to use the big models, or
our
they're
big
going to
models.
keep them at the high end models. They're going to be having a lot of identification. Now they're saying they're having third party companies, so any government ID, and then they're talking about some, your basic Apple kind of and other devices where it scans your face or your something, right? It kind of makes sense. They want to know if something goes wrong, who made that chemical weapon that just killed 3,000 people, or know who broke into the CIA's secret vault and found out about Elon Musk and his secret plan to overthrow the planet.
See, here's my problem with it, Rick. They are treating it like it's a uniquely American thing that they can control. All of the models are getting better. So what happens when DeepSeek jumps past Mythos and they release it on the dark web and the open web, and I have it on my local machine.
Source ones. Yeah, you've got them on the open source. So everybody's making a device, including Gemini has a new one that will operate completely a large language model on your phone. So you don't even have to go anywhere. There's three. There's like 4 of those that you could pick from for bigger and smaller models. Of course, I've maxed out my 2 terabyte phone with just pictures and video. So that I got to work on.
Shocking.
Yeah, I know, right?
You gotta get the NAS server stood up, and then you can just put everything over there.
Yeah, that is definitely on my list, and a couple of just us news. I'm going to be going to Tijuana, Mexico on Monday. On Tuesday, I'm doing every single test they can throw at a human being, including a colonoscopy, MRI, CAT scan, X-rays. I mean, every blood organism that's coming out of my body, and everything's being scanned. I'm not getting a chance to try out Midjourney's new thing, which is a medical device that's really cool.
Yeah, I was say, which they missed the branding marketing there by not calling it Midjourney. I can't take credit for that. That one surfaced online, but they should have been Midjourney.
I think. Wait a minute. Maybe we can rename our Life Force One Midjourney. Oh, I like it. Maybe we can get David to help us out. So you can put a spa in your own house. So basically you submerge your body, any part of your body even, in water, and then it sends sonograms, like you get a regular sonogram, but 3-dimensionally kind of realizes your entire body structure inside and out with 0 radiation. And you could get a spa treatment at the same time. It's like, whoa, okay. So hot tub and MRI and CAT scan all combined, X-ray. So it has none of the X-ray things. It's got none of the MRI, which if you have a piece of metal on your body, it's gonna get zapped right to the giant metal device that you're spinning through, right? So yeah, that's it's a real interesting thing. Now, David Holtz still is doing his meetings every Wednesday, 3 p.m. East Coast time. You can sit with him for 2 hours, and I've done this. And I've talked to him in person for the last 2 years. I used to do it every week, and I got in conversations with him. He's a fascinating man. So he created the bar that, basically all of your movements that you do in all the game, the PlayStation, stuff like that. He created that little bar that then, sees who you are. So he's been in the sensor game forever. Now, he worked for NASA as a theorist of what's possible. He had space whale conversations and stuff like this that was like, boof, right? He's a brilliant guy, a super nerd. I mean, he's kind of what was that show in Silicon Valley? I think it's called Silicon Valley, right? With the guys that were started the startup company. Yeah, he's like that guy, but he's got this big ashram kind of wrap on his head. Sometimes he wears. But he's talking about everything. He's just really a brilliant man. And the fact that a CEO of a company like his, so he took all his money, went into this, and he said he was going to make a device. And here's what he promised in the early days. This is 2 years ago when I was sitting with him on Discord, and he still does the same Discord conversation. He was theorizing they were going to come up with a device so that you could make a 3D object, so you could 3D scan your body, which there's a lot of those devices. And I figured that's what's going to happen. Well, I bet you what, if you can use sonogramic wave signals to image your whole body, guess what else you could do? Put any object in there and 3D print it or 3D scan it to precision of perfect. Because basically, if you took a giant statue or you took your cat or your dog and put them in the water, you can make a perfect rendition of them. And then if you put light chamber around it, so literally put yourself in a tube filled with water, you got a 3D thing, you got a replica of you. Potentially, you could do a real-time running kind of thing, Running Man thing. So you get a walk cycle out of it, maybe some movement. Who knows? Anyway,
I want to see the image of the cat you get after you try to put it underwater for 4 seconds to scan it.
Okay, this is a real story. Back in the 90s, I definitely took my cat because he would sit on top of my computer and all of his hair would get down to the computer. So one day I'm sitting there with my scanner and I said, I'm plopping this puppy's face down on the scanner. I held it for a little bit. And those old scanners went, I got a great picture of my face. So I also put my face. So I went from ear all the way across as the scanning arm is going. And I have a flat projection of my entire face, ear to ear. I'll have to look that up and see. After they've been submerged. What is this one here? Oh, yeah. Yep, that's it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining the show. Subscribe and like. We're trying to go for monetization, baby.
If you hold your cat down long enough for them to stop squirming under the water, you got another issue on your hands.
And the ASPCA after me too. Well, we just took another cat. So this is our third or fourth cat we've taken in to get spayed and neutered. If you didn't know about this, well, I don't know if you're in Florida. Do they do this in Cleveland? You can bring them a cat or dog and they'll spay and neuter them for free. And then Jeannie, we're scanning cats and dogs and human beings and all kinds of fun stuff. So it's a Midjourney thing, But you can bring them there, and we've done this a couple of times. So we're now trying to do this all the time. Is we're going to pick up all the cats because my roommate's a flight attendant. So when she goes away, our black cat named Shadow, and I won't mix it up with a human and a.
Gee, we started talking about med journey.
Wait, what was medical. That? Cat falls. We I want to see.
We got live
see the renderings.
We got live footage of Rick's pool, security footage of him trying to submerge his cat.
That's my iguanas, actually. The iguanas do that, and then they go to the bottom.
The best part is he just remembers all of a sudden that he can swim. He's like, all right, I'm already wet.
Well, we've threatened to get scuba gear on that cat, so he's good. He's good. Yeah, see, that's fine. He could have gotten cat scanned. He could have got a Midjourney CAT scan. That's it. That's a new thing, a Midjourney CAT scan. Let's type that in there. Brandon, if you could take a look for the Midjourney device, because they've got some really cool kind of video renderings of what that looks like. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and get into the news. Before we do, a couple of things. And in fact, do you have a link to that hospital that I'm going to? It's called New City. Can you bring up one of those too? There's a walkthrough. I think I sent it to in the LinkedIn chat. You can see if you can find that. I'm going to go ahead and start with the news tonight. Yeah, great minds. Yep, that's it. All right. And we are having a good time. All right, so we're going to do our CAT scan.
Man, I got I think I've got it here. You tell me.
That's it. That's it. So it's Tijuana, Mexico. It's an entire city. They pick you up in a van. So I'm going to San Diego. They pick me up in a van right from the hotel, and they drive me down only 30 minutes south on the border. You stay in a spa. It's incredible. Do they have any videos of this thing? So I'm getting all my scans done, everything. There's for $1,000, you basically do every single blood work and scan and urine, and you get analyzed by professionals as well. Okay, we got some excitement there with the kids.
Yep, they just got home from gymnastics, so I am not a robot, but I play one on TV. The
Great Gatsby, I love it. Right. So here's my new Libre scanner there too. So that's doing constant glucose monitoring 24/7. This is fascinating. You know, I had a bowl of cereal and milk, and it was whole grain, almonds, what you would think would be great, right? It shot up to 250. Boom. I'm like, what is that? Oh, sugar is in milk, by the way. So I was drinking whole milk. I don't know what the difference would be. But what's interesting, it's fascinating to see the little chart go up and down and everything like this. So one day of literally taking all my fluids, putting them through all the panels and all the things, x-rays. They also do dental work, and they do any kind of, I don't know, maybe I need some new hair, need a little chin lift to get rid of this, whatever this turkey neck thing is going on down there. So I'm going to come back with a BBL or something because I can't keep my pants up anymore. I'm just shrinking. Maybe they'll give me some like extension that goes taller. I don't know. But so I'm going to go down there. And the cool thing is you stay in this nice hotel. It's 180 a night. That's a little extra. You could probably find a cheaper one too. Old Man and the Cat. Yeah, keep going, ladies. I'll be putting these up all night long. Okay, the Great Gatsby. I love that. That's really cool. So they're going to scan my whole body. It's MRIs. It's luxurious too. It's like really good. I'll look for it a little bit later too, and maybe pop it in there as Brandon takes over the last part of the news. And then we got a lot to talk about. A lot of projects are coming. The rocket ships are landing, or taking off, or whatever you want to call it. So we got a lot of that to do tonight. So let's go head on over to the news. We need a news intro sound. We have a news intro sound, don't we? Do we? No, just tools. All right, so here we go. All right, so first one, which I just think is funny.
I do have, Rick, I do have the Midjourney medical video here if you wanted to take a quick look.
Oh, okay. Okay. Looks creepy this way. Stand on the gas chamber. Beam me up, Scotty. That does look like Beam Me Up, Scotty, doesn't it? Oh my God. Now I wonder if this is rendered with Midjourney. It actually looks like a real deal. What do you think, Brandon? Did they say anything on the video whether it's real or not?
I believe it's real. They have a store inside, or they have a location in San Francisco.
And it's part of a spa too, so you can, I want to do the skinny dip version. I want a good quality scan. I don't want to see some tag from Macy's or something. Oh, it is kind of amazing, right? In seconds. And the resolution is what you would get from most medical devices. And then once you do a complete scan, every organ's in there. And I'm absolutely positive. Wow. Holy cow. I think you might get electrocuted. Wow. Mid-Journey Medical. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yay. The cool thing about it is, so Life Force One, I was all excited about this, and I'm going to comment about this tonight because it's important to look at what you got going on. So I got this device 24/7. I've got my my new Hume band, right? So this is for my sleep 24/7. I swam in it yesterday, did laps. It's just a wristband, just feels like a cloth wristband. It's waterproof down to 2 or 3 meters, so you can swim. So I did laps, no problem. Just dry it off afterwards. It goes for 14 days, so that's fantastic. And it's all these different sensors. Now I have a scale that also does the same thing. So next week I'll probably be still there because we're going to hang out there and maybe get some other cosmetic thing done, right? So the scale does an impedance from your feet where you're barefoot, puts electricity through your whole body where you hold the handles, and then it does like 3 left and right muscle tonality, and like if you're losing muscle mass, it'll know over time. So the problem is none of them talk to each other, and I'm going to show you tonight as one of the medical things. Perplexity has a way. Maybe you want to mute just for a second, Brandon. You got some excitement going on here. Perplexity has a way to actually ingest all of my medical records from Holy Cross. So literally, I went through to my phone and I had 1,000 pages of just all of these bing, bing, bing. It would go to my email. Then I had to go to my email and click on it and go to the device. And then I see a box that says, oh, your measurement is this, this, this. Then you had to click on it and you just got a number. That was it. A number on a bar. And it says, this is abnormal. It just says abnormal. That's what it says. Abnormal. I mean, like, that's Young Frankenstein. Do you know the Abby Normal joke? So the brain in the jar is like, where'd you get that brain? It's from Abby Normal. Abnormal brain. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So you keep doing that. Then you click on it because it's a word that's in Greek, like literally. And that I got no idea. I mean, I know what my sugars are, and I know what a couple things are.
Yeah, Claire was clarifying. Oh, there you are clarifying.
Oh, okay. So far, the Great Gatsby is really good. I like that one. The Old Man and the Cat.
The Old Man and the Sea. No, it's the Old Man and the Sea.
Okay, that's got number one with the bullet. Okay, ladies, keep on going. Okay.
So yeah, let's get to the news.
Yeah, let's get to the news. What the heck not? So here we go. We got our news. So OpenAI is making chips now. So Broadcom and their a jalapeno chip. I mean, nana banana jalapeno. I like this. What do you think, Brandon? I think that this is the new thing. Midjourney. I think we need to have a conversation with the folks at Google, really, because they need to have better name. I mean, nana banana was fantastic, and then like 0.5, blah, 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 blah. Like, come on, guys. They have 37 different tools, and they're in such places. When I started to show a friend of mine, like 32 different little things you could do that were like, whoa. And then what's that one called for doing design work? It's like a Pomeli. I don't even know how to pronounce that. And I'm pretty good with languages, right? Pomeli. What the fuck? What the heck does that have to do with anything, right? So anyway, so that's kudos. They're getting in the hardware business. Not soon enough because too late. Basically, Elon Musk has given all his servers over to Anthropic and Claude. So we're good to go with Anthropic and Claude going forever. And then I'm certain as soon as they get into outer space, that's going to happen. Apple evidently has a little bit up their sleeve. Perhaps in September, they'll have all phones will be satellite phones by default, because they are working with a company that bought up half of the bandwidth. So if you understand what bandwidth is for transmission, the U.S. government licenses ABC, CBS, and NBC a license. That's why they have to keep a license. Of course, they haven't any longer. There's decency laws they have to do. So the federal government giving you this broadcast license to put across the airwaves, over airwaves, we no longer do that much anymore. But they did the same thing for the broad spectrum that has to do with satellites and cell phones. Well, it's in the cell phone category, but it's a whole thing that's not the satellite, which is really complicated to do, which is what Elon Musk did. So stay tuned, as that becomes a really interesting story going forward. Already my device, my Apple has their SOS device, so a scuba diving watch. It has a complete scuba diving watch with decompression chambers for all kinds of stuff on it. And here's Gemini Flash 3.5. So there's computer use. So not only can you use it on your phone, but you can use it on your remote computer to talk to it back and forth. So you have on device, and then you have connection to your big brain on your Gemini computer use. And I'll demonstrate maybe a little bit of Atlas tonight. Atlas is Google's web browser with, just like Perplexity from Comet, a side panel where you can take over your computer screen. So
Atlas is from OpenAI.
What's that?
Atlas is from OpenAI.
My apologies. Does Google have one too? Oh, they have
Google has one in
Google Chrome. Google Chrome.
In Google Chrome.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Okay. So Atlas is ChatGPT, so it can control. This is Google's Gemini thing. There's also a couple of new things in NotebookLM worth looking at. They've improved a few things. They did one thing I don't quite understand. All my styles used to be as a style inside the file, so you could copy and paste your styles between different slide decks that you like. Sometimes I can't remember which slide deck, but anyway, we'll take a look at that. So that's kind of cool. And then AlphaFold, which is DeepMind, that's Demis Hassabis's Sir Demis Hassabis. I'm always gonna say that because I have great respect for this man. He is a genius chess prodigy. The company is located in London. It is solving all everything from AlphaFold, all genetics, all research in. They're going to be the ones that solve cancer, Alzheimer's, heart disease, and all the rest of them. So stay tuned. But their biggest person, the lead, John, jumps and leaves and goes to Anthropic. Stay tuned for that next chapter. So no doubt, and here's what I hope happens. I hope that Anthropic, DeepMind, and Google become one, and that will be it. That will be all you need to know. We're on the cutting edge of all the good things, medical with DeepMind. You've got Anthropic with all of its coding and all the other skills, and the skills, which you can drop in everywhere. They've kind of invented this skill thing. And I was in a seminar all day today by our friends up in Cleveland there. I always forget their names. And all day they had an all-day seminar, and we might talk about that if we end up having some time.
Paul
so that's
Reitzer,
pretty cool.
Macon.
Paul Reitzer, yes. Macon, right? So, and they have this all the time. So just get on their website, YouTube channel, or get on LinkedIn, and you'll see all the announcements when they have a ton of free stuff. Macon's coming up, in October, November? That's their once a year big thing. They've got
in Q4, September, October.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, they got some big names. We're talking world class. So these folks are working in education, they're working in business, and they're really super smart. I mean, their video podcast, just watch it. It's called AI. Their naming convention, even though they're a marketing company, is not fantastic. But also their free stuff they give away. They have a report every year of how business is interfacing. So I've been studying them for a while. Hopefully meet them at some point. Now, Claude came out with tag feature. Do you know anything about this, Brandon? Exactly what the tag feature means? Is that like a skill, but you can pass it to somebody else?
I have not had a chance to research tags. I heard about them, but I have not had a chance to go deep in them.
Okay. So my sugar is telling me, oh, we lost the signal. Okay. I'm amazed. I mean, my sugars, now that I'm taking the right medication, are actually really good. Yeah, so that's new. They keep trying to, and if you are using Anthropic and you're using Claude Code, which is highly recommended, and I'll show you some of the things I'm doing right now. I'm now setting up Claude Code with now 20 different folders, and it's going to go from one folder to the next. So let's say that I'm producing a book, a trilogy called GROK, Grok. It's going to be a movie. So I'm putting it with any new things go into the new folder. That goes into the pipeline for book 1, 2, and 3. If it's a character reference, if it's a news story, it gets populated through the chain to the right place. And you can do this for anything. I'm going to do it also for AITV Starship. So every episode is going to go in there. It's going to get ingested with all the words, put into a Google Notebook LM. So you basically set up this cyclical nature of all the things that you do so that you end up with a super organized. And when you're out and about and you have a NAS server, like that's why I'm setting it up, I can be cloning everything about me in one folder. And I can be working on a book, and I can work on my play, I can work on my music. And we're going to take a look at tonight, the premiere of the new music videos that are already in my copyrighted 10 songs for The Dangerous Man in 66. We got a big preview on that tonight. And I'm going to be going through DistroKid. Hopefully I'll record it offline next week in our medical journey in Tijuana, Mexico. I'm going to go through all of that. So a lot of stuff coming up. All right. So what else? ByteDance has 2.5. Now, if you didn't know, C-Dance 2.5. ByteDance is the company. Yes, they are the Chinese company, but they're really quite spectacular. They are the #1 video rendering tool out there if you want consistent prompt coherency and a little extra. I got to tell you, I've used it a couple of times. I have it. It's built into Krea, Krea. I always spell stuff because my voice, because my lisp, I'm gonna have my teeth shortened, so I'm not gonna be lisping anymore, which is something I didn't even notice till I watched myself back on the show. All right, so Meta, Meta, for which the word glass holes, yes, was invented, I say, is now working with another luxury brand, luxury exotica Meta glasses. So those are coming out. So it's kind of an upgrade, but it has in-field navigation and social media and that kind of stuff. So you got heads-up display for this stuff. It still has the problem. I'm seeing a lot of companies coming out with a little sliding circle that goes over the camera. So not only do you get a light popping off, but you also see there's no possible way they could be recording you, because as we saw last week, you could drill into that, pop it out at a pawn shop, and nobody knows that you're shooting pictures of them. So that's kind of cool. Perplexity introduces a computer for counsel for legal professionals. So all these companies, what they're doing is they're going to medical, and they've solved that. Now they're going to legal. So that means you're a lawyer, and you probably have 100 different little interns and people that come with you that do the oh my God, horrible work of going through, used to be law books, and then it's LexisNexis and all the other legal services. Well, you can build one yourself, and now it's in one place. So this includes, if you're doing wills and all that kind of stuff, estate planning, let's say, for example, you feed in the person's name. It's an on-device kind of process, and you come out the other end. So Perplexity has an on-device engine that can run there, and it does the legal stuff. So you're going to see these skills for a lawyer, for a doctor, for a coder, and already Anthropic, as you know, is kind of broken. So Claude is created almost 80% now entirely by Claude. Okay. So all those coders are now doing the 20%. This is our zeitgeist idea for Upskill USA. No matter what you do for a living, and here's the phrase you should think about. If you can do it on a computer in a closet, that job is gone as of in the legal profession as of today, right? So whatever you do, if you're finance and you have to reconcile books or numbers or anything like that, there's a skill for that coming to a place near you. And then what we're doing is we're fine-tuning the skill so it fits into our unique environment. And that's why Upskill USA, which hopefully we'll be able to premiere. Fernando, I'm going to show a brief premiere of what Fernando and Oscar and Brandon have been working on. And Brandon did the whole lovable thing, and now they're all working in concert together to get this thing going. We'll have a video to show you coming up soon. So stay tuned to next week's episode. It's going to get really interesting. I think for yourself, you want to use something like Perplexity Computer or Claude Code, which is on your physical device, to organize, change your file names. Even Gemini, I'm kind of a little ticked off. I used to be able to like select a bunch of files and say organize and rename them. No, I can do that with the other devices, but I can't do it with Google, which Google Drive, I should be able to just go in there and say, organize the structure. It will summarize them. It'll do some simple sorting, not very well, and nowhere near to what I've got Claude doing now. So once you get the cycle of things to go, all of my 18 rocket ships are either art projects, which are, let's clean up the music, let's make a banana picture for the cover of my new songs, and then upload it. In fact, all of my copyright stuff was done by me telling Perplexity's Comet to go in there and put all the information into from a Word document that I handed it. Give me a copyright on all this stuff, and I'll show you kind of how that works. And then we'll do DistroKid. I'm going to be recording that because I want to, speed it up and edit before we start to show it. So this is getting really interesting. Okay, just for fun, DoorDash delivery. I mean, these little puppies they're stopping it at streetlights and they're asking, can you tell me if it's safe to cross? I mean, it's so cute. I've got 10 of them. Really, I'm not joking. On my street corner down the street, not more than 4 blocks away. They sit there on the corner. I'm like, what are you guys doing over here? I'm asking. They kind of look around, and they're moving, like they're a little bit of eye scanning or whatever. So, and they're waiting. And then I see one to dash off, and it goes to someone's house and delivers the food. So I haven't used it yet. Have you tried this, Brandon? Have you tried a Waymo and a DoorDash or any of the other devices that deliver?
They don't do that in Cleveland. The weather's too inclement.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you could gear this thing up with a parka and stuff, So anyway, this robot's delivering, and SWAT came in to basically arrest some people in the home, and they wouldn't leave. So they had to flash bang the resident. I guess it busted up the machine a little bit. But get out of my way, dude. We've got law enforcement going on here. All right, here we go. Meta's employee surveillance program blows up in the face of Mr. Zuckerberg. You might notice in the bottom corner, that's actually a picture of Zuckerberg. So I'm having the news source of the news that you see here is Perplexity's own news, which is spectacular because it's in-depth. It's done every day. If you're not doing this, 2 things I would highly recommend. I'll show you how to do it tonight. Go into Perplexity, look over on the left-hand side, find the news, and then it'll show up at the top. You got business and finance and sports. Go into each one. It will have already carefully crafted and curated news, and you can ask questions about it. So we'll talk about that tonight. In fact, remind me, Brandon, we'll hit that one. Then we'll go over to Gemini, and you can take a look at a review of everything you've got going on. So you can listen to it, talk to you. And talking back and forth is getting extremely faster. Brandon, are you using just verbal back and forth to prompt all of your tools at the moment? Are you typing?
I still type a lot with Lovable, even though you can have conversations. I tend to be more thorough with typing, but if I'm having a philosophical discussion with OpenAI's ChatGPT, I will absolutely record my voice, let it transcribe, and then have it do audio back or printed version back, then I have read it out loud. Because what I've noticed in live conversation mode, it keeps the conversation very light. But if you do a record, transcribe, send, and then have it come back and replay, it keeps its deep conversation going.
Gotcha. So what they did is good old Mark Zuckerberg, the all-seeing Sauron eye, right? is watching the employees, every move, how much time they took on task and all this kind of stuff. And then reporting back to the, evil. You're talking, and they're doing it to their employees the way they've been doing it to us. So it's kind of like, it's a metaverse, right? It's only right that the employees are like up in arms, and they've got legal counsel. And so it kind of, I'm waiting for this thing just to blow up when we can finally sue them. All right. So Congresswoman AOC, I'll just call her that because Ocasio-Cortez, who I think is one of the most brilliant women in Congress today and is doing the right thing. What used to be the far left, which she and Bernie Sanders were kind of represented the socialist, bullshit. Come on, learn your basic political science stuff. I have a degree in political science. I'm so offended by Antifa, anti-fascist. That's the Nazis, buddy. That's got nothing to do with these folks at all. So quit using that damn word the wrong way, and then learn what a socialist is. A socialist is a capitalist who believes that you should have your fires put out by your government, and your roads should be paved in your public schools. That's it, full stop. And then anybody else is not a capitalist. They're an extractor that happens to use the term a capitalist. So I would call them the Dark Enlightenment. So that's where we are. So that's enough of my angry man rant here. Well, they accused their staff of using Claude to help draft up. Well, have you ever seen how long these 300-page proposals are? I thank God. Now, she's denying that they did. I would say, hell yeah, I did. If it's good enough for the War Department, not the Defense Department, by the way, the War Department of the United States to use it, hell yeah, I'm going to make sure that you get the best draft of the rules, right? So I don't know why she apologized for it. I want to tell her just, I want to work for her, actually. And I've already rewritten the 2020 document, 2025 document that Trump does, but the flip side to undo everything he's done. And I'm keeping an actual track on everything he's done so you know exactly what to fix. Put back those buoys out in the ocean, which are right now are back out there. Refund everybody. You take your name off of every damn thing and take that fountain, put it back normal, right? AI companies are trying to seize control of elections. So electioneering, so they're putting money in there. Now, if you didn't know this from political science, you should. So there's a law. So the 14th Amendment made it so that corporations are treated just like people, meaning they have rights. They should never, ever have rights in what's called all of a sudden, I've forgotten this thing that's fundamental. Citizens United. Thank you very much. There it is. Citizens United was a law by the federal government that said money paid to support a candidate is free speech. So you had this thing called super PACs. So this is a little bit of political science, but I promise you it's super simple. And once you see how simple it is, you'll know that has to be the first law, stricken from any record anyway. First of all, no corporation should have any rights. It should be born with responsibilities. If it has rights, it can take oil out of the ground and frack the hell out of your underground system and cause all the damage. And the super centers, right, that are creating all this AI that you're complaining about, if this was not there and it wasn't tied to payola going to some congressperson's pocketbook or the president's pocketbook, it would not happen. Every business would come in there and say, hey, city, we're going to be putting this next to you in your open field that you're not even using. Is that okay with you? And then pay all the whole taxes and put in a free medical in that city. And then make enough water that you support yourself. And as a matter of fact, they've already figured out how to cool with hot water. They recycle it. The water doesn't go anywhere. So you're not using any water. Some of them, yes, they are right now using water. And a lot of them are put in really stupid places because they're where nobody is, in the drought-prone areas, right? So you can put solar out west, right? When you got a desert. And if you're in Vegas, which is a city that should never have existed, it is it's a drain to try to get that. But anyway, that's another story. Is make them self-sustaining and then have them be an addition to it. So Citizens United said this: your average citizen, you can donate about $5,000 for every candidate. Check, check, check. Okay. So I can do that. They can create a super PAC of 30 billion companies. And Elon Musk has donated to Donald Trump $500 billion. In fact, he paid people to go vote. Totally legal. He's going to be put in a grave so far deep, he'll never get out. So that's what our government is doing. That's why you are not making any money. That's why your gas prices are so high. That's why we just paid alimony to the country of Iran of $30 billion, $300 billion, when we should have never gone in there at all. And, anyway, it's the whole reason why the whole cycle is broken.
I'm going to make you put on your hat, but you might be saving it for Getty Images.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started with Getty. Okay. All right. So this is the thing is that, and I'm going to try to create, and I think I've got to figure out how to do it. I want a gas meter for how much tokens I have in every one of my large language models. And I want it to show up as a gas meter. So what do you think about vibe coding this, Brandon? Here's what I want it to do. So I got Gemini, I got ChatGPT, I got seven different models.
I was thinking about this, Rick. The problem is that the gas meter takes gas to run.
Token meter, okay.
Yeah, no, I mean seriously, if you're querying the API, you're using tokens to chicken on the tokens, so you got to be careful. Otherwise, it becomes a rope that pulls itself down under its own weight.
Well, right now I can go to Claude and Perplexity, and I can see how many tokens I've used and how many I have left after every instance. So when I ran this morning, it was like 6,000 or 8,000 tokens. I only get 10,000 a month to do what I did today. Now it was a lot, but I wanted to save some so I could actually do some live demo on the show if I wanted to. So I can do that. So all I'm saying is every hour or as a task completes, give me a gas gauge for all of them in one location. Now, if this is possible, I would suggest my sugar 24/7 glucose monitor in my arm, my Fitbit or my Hume wristband 2.0 that I just bought, and my Apple phone and my health, and all these devices should be able to feed into it. And I'll show you why this is possible, because Perplexity got all my medical records out and I have them in a form I can actually look at them. Okay, so if it can do that, I'll get Claude on device to be watching all the tokens and say, hey, how many notebooks can I get done? So it'll look at my usage of notebooks, and it knows I run out at a certain time. And Claude will tell you what the meter is, but there's not one heads-up display for all of them. That's what I want to do. Then I want to do Life Force One, which is basically all health stuff. Same idea, right? So as my Fitbit, as my Hume scale, pumps in information, it's aggregated and then put into something I can use. So I'm positive I can do this. It's just a matter of, prioritizing that rocket ship to get launched. And then I'm going to give it away to the world. So all of you can do this, and you just basically you download the skill set of the GitHub repo, and we're off to the races. So look for that. Now, this is a really weird one, which I thought. So these new radio chips and chips that are being designed, they have one that looks like a QR code, and it beats human design chips. It's really sort of weird. So they're trying to figure out why this is. I mean, you can see it looks like a QR code. I don't know if this is exactly what it looks like, but they're saying they're very organized and structured. And what I would suggest, if you've ever looked into fractals or cyanatics is the looking at the waves. So you remember that scene in Jurassic Park, and the T-Rex is running up behind, and the cup of water starts to make circles come out. Well, there's a whole science of this. You could put your on top of a giant woofer in your speaker system, a tray of water, and it'll make beautiful fractal shapes. Well, so in nature, there's this repetitive macrocosm, microcosm. So all the circular patterning that is in the universe is in the solar system, is in the atoms. So there is this multi-layered natural form that is very beautiful, what we would call beautiful, which is the organizational structure of how things work. If you look at a tree and a leaf, you can see the microcosm in the macrocosm and see that the roots are the same patterns as the trees, leaves patterns of distribution of liquid through the system, because they are minor, small, and large water systems, right, that convert stuff. So that's sort of interesting that they're finding the chips made by, AI, basically artificial intelligence, at the bequest of human beings. I'm going to be saying that from now on. It doesn't do shit by itself. I'm sorry. It just doesn't do anything. What it does is when a human says, go cure cancer, and they know what they're talking about, it can actually go out and do it. So my little gas gauge or token gauge that I'm asking for all the application, it's got to take me sitting down and figuring it out. It won't do it on its own. Now, Claude will do some things, as the coders will tell you, because 80% of their work's already been done that way, is that if you smart prompt them really, really well, find me a solution for a gas gauge, and then give me 5 different ways that you could think about doing it. And before you spend the tokens, this is my new big thing. Make sure that you're using, and tell me what model of agent are you going to be using to do these menial tasks. So what I found recently, if it's just sorting my files and renaming them, I can actually have an app on my phone that does that for me. In fact, if I want to synchronize 2 giant folders full of stuff, I just use Sync, right? There's all kinds of sync applications. So I would suggest Claude to give it to something that's free before it goes up to using 4.9 all the time, right? 4.8 all the time. So that's what I think you need to start thinking about. It's a cycle of repetitive behaviors, and let's call them skills, or there's another word for it, like a booklet or something. So you create these and then you put them in different scenarios. So the ones that are made for making music and video and print documents, the print document thing I'm still working on to get it to drive. And then I wanted to edit Premiere Video. And my latest thing is I'm going to try, Premiere has a way to edit based on the text. So I'm going to extract the text out of Premiere, hand it to Claude, have it edit this 1 hour that we did last week about all the medical stuff that we talked about last week, edit it down to the best, tightest, and then I'm going to have it put it back in because it's an XML document. You can feed it back in and edit the text. So then it will force Premiere to actually edit from a 1 hour to a 10-minute with the best quality stuff. And then I'll do voiceovers for any kind of breaks or things in there. It'll take out all the ums and the ahs and the bad words that I just said, right? And that's going to be automated. It said it could take over completely Adobe Premiere, and it should be able to do InDesign because they both have access through a pipeline of XML document management to do massive projects. So I want to get a style of a magazine, horizontal, vertical, different ones I want to do, and then a newsletter that would be online and maybe post it different places. And then once I set it up, it'll be just a pipeline of feeding in the stuff one end, and it comes out the stuff the back end. The same way what the slide deck you're looking at right now has got this all right, and you see in the bottom corner. So what the problem with Google is, it cannot render all the time a picture of Elon Musk, especially if it's a human being. So they can't put it up here in the big picture, right? Because there's blocks by Google to do it. And I figured out why it keeps timing out. So I asked it to check why it's timing out. Google only allows you to create so many per minute. So it had to slow it down to synchronize its output because it's producing 20 of these images per minute. And it could, but the rendering device times out if you're doing 5 simultaneous jobs. So it's now built in that this gets always done. There's no breakdown like it was on last night's show. So that's kind of cool too, right? So, all right, let's get going because we got a lot to do. GPT-5 helps immunologists solve 3-year-old mystery. So basically, they're finding a way to untangle the DNA sequence. And this is being applied for children too. So physicians are diagnosing rare genetic diseases in children by using AI to do complicated renderings and thought processes that you would not even be able to diagnose what it is. So diagnosis, because a doctor who's an expert is using AI, is literally now at about a 50% greater chance of finding answers than they were before. By the end of the year, it will double any physicians, any nurses, any oncologists, researchers, whatever. It'll double their capabilities, and then look out because it's going to solve all medicine, full stop. So they're on the way. Protein folding was pretty great. Did over, they did over, humans would have taken to do protein folding. This is the estimate, 1,000 years. 1,000 years when protein folding was talked about. They got to a point where they had humans doing one protein fold, and it took them basically a year. And there was a normal competition every year. They would have people meet. Well, Demis and Sabas, watch the documentary. It's really amazing. They got to where they got AI to do it. And Demis says to the team, could we do all of them? And they set it to work. They did 100,000 in the human genome within 6 months. And then they went to all animal proteins, period, on the planet Earth, and they solved all those. So next they're doing the cells, which is a much larger competency, and DNA is now something you can sequence on your home computer. So that's what I'm going to do when I come back. I've got my DNA from Ancestry.com, and I'll have all my other devices speaking the same place. So I'm going to have a clone of my physical body, a twin of Rick McCauley. Next thing you know, I'm going to be cloning my whole body and sending it out to do my work while I take a nap. I'm going to give it a super heart like Jarvis or whatever, right? All right, so MIT gives robotics long-term memory. So right now, they're actually paying, if you want to do this, they're paying human beings to fold clothes and do all kinds of stuff. So you can wear a head-mounted gear. You look like a glass hole, but it watches everything you do, and then it has sensors on your arms and limbs and your fingertips so that you can basically take a skill, fold a shirt, fold a dress, fold a sock, etc., right? Once you do that, it gets uploaded, then it goes into one brain, and then it duplicates that brain 10,000 times virtually, and then it gets to be able to do that skill. Once it does it, then you just load it in as a skill. Now, they've gotten to really amazing things. You see them play basketball and do, like, now I know Kung Fu, right? So all of that is basically just a bunch of skills, and now they're getting to a point where the dexterity of these things and the limitations are almost nil as to what they can do. Environmental observation, so that's the Waymo thing, right? So they train it on simulations plus real driving, and they aggregate the Borg mind of all Waymos, basically go into one thing. So this is where it's really going. So it's the sensors and the dexterity and the balance and things like that in a humanoid style robot that's super difficult, but you've seen some stuff happening. So we're right at the singularity. I mean, we're almost there. So long-term memory is the problem. And ChatGPT is improving their health intelligence. So you'll see there's a bunch of new health things. You can connect it to all kinds of devices. So everybody's going to have connectors. So look out for connectors, look out for agents, and look out for creating your own flow and skills that you reuse again and again. So I have a house style for Word documents. I'll show you what that looks like. And my PowerPoints have this dark background, dark gray, so the photographs look great. Bottom left-hand corner is my AITV Starship, which is on every one. Then I've got the lower third, right? So I've got all that is just my house styles. You'll never see them looking different. When I get to the end, you'll see what's different. All right, DeepSeek is doing it again. So what they've been able to do is, since they didn't originally have chips, now their chips are as good as ours, and they're mass producing them faster than we ever could. So you give some Chinese people, you give 1 billion people a problem, man, they're going to get it solved, especially because they ain't going outside to play until they do, kind of thing, right? Because the government's telling them what to do. So you can't stop them from going far faster than we ever could imagine. I mean, it's like, if we had 1 billion agents, what do we have? 261 million people in the United States. They got 1 billion. So yeah, that's 4 times more people. So, and they're under total control. So if you had to get up and go to school and work and all that kind of stuff the way they do, they're very disciplined people. But it's actually great. I mean, the students over there, when I taught them, far better than our students. Absolutely. They did not have a Gen Z stare. They had a Gen Z excitement. Now, they're not having children fast enough, but that's another thing. You can't have them be a geek and make babies at the same time. It's just not compatible, I don't think. I think it's got to be a phase you go through. Anyway, so they're doing it. So they are solving these problems that we have. We don't have enough computes. We need bigger centers. We got to throw money at it. The way, Elon Musk with his bravado and his mail, compensation has to have the biggest everything, of course. With the drugs he's taken, I'm sure that's not at all true in his, but he's got a bunch of kids, 13, 14 time. Scientists found a better language for AI. So cloud? What's the backbone of the internet? The one that gets you the CAPTCHA signs, all this stuff. Anyway,
Cloudflare.
Cloudflare, the company that basically does all the security layer for the internet, is putting new and better languages in place, so they can communicate with each other at 10,000 times faster than you and I with a mouse can interface with a thing. If you ever doubt this, have it go search through a PDF that's 5,000 pages and give you 4 sentences to sum it up. And that's basically what it's doing. Now, since they talk to each other in their own language, so there's a new language that is for AI agents, that agent layer is already 40% of the entire internet has been duplicated so that agents can flow on it. It's being used in all financial transactions. That's why they were worried about Glasswing and Mythos, right? Because if you could get a bad actor in there to break the code as money is being transferred around the planet with this little layer that's secured by Cloudflare, you could have a real problem because it's existentially the end of economics on the planet. If it can take care of any kind of encryption, which evidently Mythos could break all encryptions, yeah. Now imagine that somebody makes that open source and you put it on your own computer. It's kind of scary. Anyway, and then we've got looked inside Claude's mind. And of course, it's always been kind of weird. But they were finding some really weird things. And there was a guy's name. So the word lighthouse keeps popping back up. So if you ask it to do a story, and then there's a guy's name, and I'm trying to remember what the name was. I did a little side venture. I'll find the paper and get back to it later. But so the theory was originally that it keeps, if you ask it to keep writing short story, it comes up with one character over and over again that sounds like it came from the late 1800s. So copyright is about 1920 right now because it's, basically 80 years past the death, 70 years past the death of the people. So to make sure that you have copyright able information, it trained a lot on information that was public domain. And it gave a privilege. So if you're asking for something, instead of quoting somebody who's copyrighted, like, exactly the words from the Wall Street Journal, which is a problem, it privileges information that's outside and copyright free. Then it can use it. That's why that picture of Elon Musk in the corner had to happen there, because Perplexity gets the picture of Elon Musk, only is able to render it right from the news source as just a picture in the bottom right-hand corner, and then it generates this completely from scratch. So every one of these images you see rendered here, it's just basically, I want you to show me in a metaphorical, allegorical way. So that's my magic prompt for you guys. Always ask it to do a metaphorical, allegorical representation of the best ideas here. So metaphorical means it shows pictures that are like what we're trying to say. Allegorical, tell me a story about that. That's the Bible stories. That's the a Good Samaritan, for example, right? So those two magic words are based on my Rick Macaulay, my notebooklm.rickmacaulay.com website. Go there now if you want to check that out. Maybe Brandon can put it up in the thread here. And I'm going to skip here. So 2 big things. The worry was, and this is somebody just mocked this up, is that Mythos and Fable are banned, but ChatGPT 5 Cyber rolls right on out, as it did, like a cyber truck, right? I guess that's maybe part of the joke. Now, this is partly true for the ability to use Mythos and Fable. Right now, it's for the people that are world companies, big banks, Chase Bank, and whoever, that has to have this because they're plugging all the holes in their software. And it got taken down because somebody, Amazon, by the way, turned them in saying there's a hole you got that could be a breach of everything. Now, who's Amazon? In direct competition with them and also part owner of them. It's a real weird story. So definitely Sam Altman's getting a lot nicer treatment, is cooperating with the Department of War. So he gets a little free pass on stuff. But now, as you just heard at the beginning of the news, he is also having to pay the piper. And there will be, at the higher quality models, you will have to be putting in your IDs, and you'll have to have verification by a third party. Now, do I trust the third party? My guess is it's run by Oracle, Larry Ellison, part of the Dark Enlightenment. He's already said he's building a surveillance system for the American population down to what time do you go to the toilet. And I'm not making that as a funny joke. I'm literally saying they could predict when you're going to go to the bathroom, okay, by your behaviors. All right, Topaz. Now, Topaz makes all the upscaling software for video and audio. It's the best of class. Now, Adobe is buying it. So it will be inside of Adobe. Now, Adobe has also all the major models as a plugin. And then when you go to use them, Nana Banana, for example, it's saying you're outside of our ability to actually guarantee you as a company that you're using models that were not trained correctly. So if you use ours and you as a company generate something and somebody sues you for it, like the big photo companies, Getty, etc., evil lords of the dark arts, then they will indemnify you, meaning they'll pay your legal bills because they're saying their model, Firefly, is safe. Anything outside of that, which is inside as a plugin, you're using at your own expense. Topaz Labs is nothing but the best product. There's one, Magnific is probably better upscaling videos and still pictures. You can use all of them in Crea, KREA.com. So if you want to use all those. I'm going to do a quick, maybe we should take a break here. I want to go through this real quick or not. Yeah, let's take a little break here and just kind of check in on what's happening. So let's take us off the up for a minute. All right. So what do we got here? Naked coming in. Great point. Notebook LM. Yeah, there we go. So there's the Notebook LM. Take a look at that. Version 2 is coming out really soon. I've already got it up there. In fact, if anybody of my friends here that showed up tonight, more than happy to send that to you. So, so what are your thoughts about? Is there any other news you want to talk about? Lovable has a couple of things happening, don't they?
Yeah, Lovable has some back and forth conversational elements to it now. And generally speaking, the internet is just kind of a tizzy about all of the government overreach. Meta came out with a new version of its spyware. I mean, it's Meta glasses, which,
I love it that their own people are being spied on by their own company. I mean, really?
Full disclosure. I have a pair of Meta glasses, and Glasshole was attributed to the Google glasses, not Meta originally.
Right.
But I just kind of assume, especially with the flock cameras now, and security cameras, that everything that I do in public is subject to scrutiny and subject to, like, there's no privacy. Yeah. There's no expectation of privacy. Maybe there was 50 years ago.
If you're in public, you are public. Now, as a photojournalist, I know this for a fact because one of the freedoms that we have, if you can see it from a public space, and I've lectured about this at many universities, you can photograph it. So if you're standing on a sidewalk and Madonna's naked in her backyard and you can see it from there, you can photograph her completely. And here's the landmark places, really interesting, which I thought would not be true. A man was in a New York high-rise here. He looks across and he photographed his neighbors. Whenever they open the curtains, they're exposing themselves to public view. So he photographed them and did a whole art exhibit of it's like a rear window kind of a thing, the movie with Alfred Hitchcock movie, right? So he did that, put them up. And the lawsuit was against that family was saying, you were invading our privacy. Nope. Anybody that's sitting in New York City in that whole high rise can see you, so you can photograph it. Now, what does this do? Rodney King would not be known about unless you could have that freedom, which I say is part of the First Amendment. Technically, it's not quite the same, but it's close enough. In fact, we might want to do another copyright and legal thing about what you're allowed to photograph and not. I cannot go into a mall and photograph. Why? It's private property. I cannot go into your party unless I'm invited and make pictures. I cannot release them without your permission. So that's private. In voting booths, those are private. Hospital rooms, private. So you legally can't do it without permission of the people there to photograph it. However, as a photojournalist, I typically say if an event, a car accident's happening, as long as you don't get in the way of the police doing their business, and this is something that I always fought with. I mean, they'd be pushing me back, just back, right? So a van went off of one of those into a canal. There were 6 people that were pulled up. So I parked my car, went into the bridge where they had gone off, started to take a picture of the police officers and the EMTs giving CPR to a family of 5. Unfortunately, 3 of them didn't make it. Before I made my first picture, I saw it all laid out. It was a Pulitzer Prize winning photograph. 3 of it didn't make it. The father and one of the kids made it. The rest, I'm sorry to say, didn't. So as soon as I framed it up, he put his hand in front of my lens and says, "No, this is public property. You can't do that." And of course, they did it anyway. And I don't have enough time to argue with them, and they would arrest you. So, if you're up against a cop, 2 things that you should always say. I'm on public property. Are you going to arrest me? Am I under arrest? That's the words you can use. If you're not under arrest, they cannot detain you. They cannot ask you to delete anything on your camera because they have to get a court order to do it. So just like your car, they can't look inside your car. If you've got tinted windows, they can't force you to put the window down. If in your back seat, you got to fill with marijuana.
And it's not AI related, but this came out today. I saw the story that there was a poll worker that had ICE come into the poll worker, and they made her delete a Facebook post that doxed the ICE agent by naming his first name. I'm like, that's not a good precedence to set.
No.
And they said it was they said they could charge her with threatening an official.
Yeah, ICE. I want to reframe what you're saying here, Fairy Tale. No reasonable expectation of privacy. I would suggest we have that for good reason. If you think about all of the Black people that were abused, starting Rodney King, that would have never happened. So the transparency, in my understanding as a white man, to have never encountered that, if you just told me all those things had happened already and people were lynched, unless I was there, I wouldn't believe it. So privacy is also our rights to be able to view in public, and that if you're in public, so there are people upskirts. I don't know if you heard about this. So there were guys taking pictures with, phones on the ground in a subway. If you're on a subway, that's a public utility. So you can take all the pictures you want until they call out the ICE agents and say, everything's illegal. I don't need search and seizure. And I can throw you in Guantanamo and I can ship you off to another country and you could be a legal citizen. Anyway, that's another thing. So when we think about the line between the blue line, the thick blue line between ICE and us, it's a 2-part system. Freedom of speech is to be able to take photographs of people in public, including law enforcement officers, and they can't not stop you unless you're impeding their work. So some of the reasons why Renee Good, which you're going to hear that song tonight, because it's part of my release of my album, is the problem with Renee Good's situation is they say that she was running over a police officer. So he used mortal force. That's how they justified it. If you look at from every angle, that's not a justification. This guy he's guilty in sin and should be serving time, but he's not. So there's a fine line, and we have to hold the line hard, because the one invasion of your public privacy and your ability to know, and the journalism is like literally there's 3 photographers at the Miami Herald. There were 65 and helicopters up in the air about everything going on. So what you don't know, and this is the number one thing I'm going to say for all of my projects, what you don't know as an individual is your loss of your freedoms. And that's why the country is where it is now. If we don't fight against that First Amendment being breached and all the other amendments that go with it, and take companies out of the ability to buy all the government, that's where our problem is. And that's going to be the end of my angry man story. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start back. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Is there any other cool things happening?
No, I just want to share when I was down in Texas last week, one of the my daughter likes writing, so I got her
things are bigger in Texas.
Texas-sized pen. The pen's the size
things
of that.
are bigger in Texas. Yeah. Yep. Elon Musk has giant data centers down there because they're bigger in Texas. Maybe I should put my hat on. I think I need to be, What's that?
So
Gunsmoke.
where are we going? Yeah, where are we going next? Are we going to your
Okay,
album
I'm going to
release,
go
or
on.
do you want to go back
I'm going to
into?
go on a quick little thing for the GI Bill for the AI age. I forget why, but I know there's something here. So I want to do a quick little dive. You've seen this before, right? You got me on screen now.
Our show is so good we don't even know what we're doing with it yet. That's how how fast news is breaking.
Nap, though.
The slideshow is being built as we go.
If stuff breaks, we fix it. All right, so GI Bill for the AI age. So I'm going to be doing a presentation of all my moonshots at NSU, as I talked about last time. So this is basically the stuff you already know about. So I just want to run through this. I've done this already at 5 cities, including Coral Springs and Coconut Creek. It's now down to 6 hours, and it now includes all the employees. When I did it, and I did it for no pay whatsoever, I never got paid for any of this, at great expense to myself of time and effort. At least 8,000 hours I spent on making all these things, and here I am speaking.
So as we transition, what I want you to think about is Upskill USA is the place where we put government, businesses, and educators together in a room, where we have this conversation and we start to solve these small problems, and then we see everybody else and help them solve their own. And we use AI to amplify who we are.
So that's basically it. So the 4 panelists there from Broward College, they're deans of different department. You got nursing, supply chain management, et cetera. This was, it ended up being, so it was 4 different days. These people had to sit there and for, 3 hours each day. So it was too much. Now in doing it, and there's Laura Mathrick, she was actually the poet laureate for Coral Springs, I think, Coconut Creek, one of the two. And so she got me a place. This is City Hall that we're sitting in, and it's a Chamber of Commerce that brought the people. We coordinated the whole thing. We got our 4 people to come. This is the last day. We had 50 people in this event. We did it again in Hollywood. We did it in Fort Lauderdale. We got as much as 120 people. My goal is to get every single worker and employer across the United States to be educated at least 6 hours of a Saturday or whatever, or online even. And that's the goal of Upskill USA, is to do this for everybody. Because there were psychiatrists there was a plumbing company. All of them that came for 6 hours ended up doubling the efficiency. And none of them, as I asked them to sign a letter of intent, none of them have fired any employees yet. My goal is that every human being will be sent back to a community college and get upskilled. So they make more money for the plumbing company, and they're doing not menial labor. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. Think about, there's at least 30% of every one of my jobs. I've got to put up my simple syllabus. I've got to go online and find this place where I have to fill out this form and do all this stuff, when it could literally be, take this, put it up there. And that's a skill that I have to do every semester, because the state of Florida is going to audit that. And it has to be done during the summer, and they didn't have it available to. Anyway, long story short, we're fighting that. So there's a stupid skill nobody should be doing. Let's get AI to do it. So all we're doing is we're making skills. I want to keep it simple in your head. Think about, what are the skills? What are the tasks that you have to do in your job? And I swear to God, no matter who you are, there's at least 30% of it that you don't want to do ever again. And as soon as you train it once on a skill, it's repeatable across the board. So I've got 20 projects, 18 full-size moonshots that I'm doing this with. Now, if I get the AI to do it for me, Brandon doesn't have to sit there and make the slide deck. He doesn't have to edit the video. He doesn't have to then go into YouTube and put all the descriptions in there. In fact, we're not doing that. I would suggest from the beginning of the show, 45 episodes ago, we were doing 30% more work than we're doing today. And by the end of this, why not even have the AI speaking for me? I don't think so. I'm going to decide, what is the human portion I want to keep? What do I own? So what is automatable? What is a co-authored? And what is the full human only? My presentation to my students is always going to be in-person human. If they need help, I want to be there in every way to support them morally, ethically, and to also inspire them. I am Gandalf, they are Frodo, and they're about to go on a mission that they're scared about, just like Frodo. I've got to convince them, if you've got your study buddies with you, you'll always be okay. Because when you get your job, guess who? And I know this for a fact, over 4,000 students I've educated. Every one of them, I've always said, it's the person sitting next to you that 5 years from now has a great job and they're looking for a person as a second graphic designer. They're going to call you up, and that's how you create a career. So if you're not getting to know every person in this classroom, you're not doing the job of what you need to do to go on your photo journey. It's your job to become the best version of yourself you can. My job is to check you and remind you that you got to do it ethically and fairly, so you're not cheating anybody when you do anything. All right. So I wanted to say that because this is what's going to be the pitch deck. And then this is what it looks like for real. And this has actually happened already. This is a woman, advanced breast cancer detection and AI analysis. So there's a program at 3 of the institutions in Florida. Broward College is not yet one of them. You go for a 2-week training class, and then now you will save 100 more lives per year because of that 2-week training. That's all you need to know everything about what Upskill USA does. And then let's go take a look at what else we can do. So already trucks are already going to be doing what Waymo does. Imagine that you're a man or a woman, you're age 55, 60 maybe, and you still got to work, you're making decent money, and you're having to, go pee and do all this kind of, and you're actually sleeping in your cab. So it's a miserable life. You never see your family. That's why the picture of the family's up there. And then now you're running a fleet of those. You know what icy roads are like. You can actually take over and drive the truck, or you can get it safe and you could send out robots or whatever to fix whatever's going on. You can warn them about problems ahead, because every time I did that run during the blizzards, avoid this small road and go on this other road, right? And then we put it on train tracks and we double decker it. And then we have everybody self-driving, and there's no more parking garages. Think about this for a minute. If you never had to have a parking garage, you don't have to own a car. You ride share, or you could buy a fleet of the cars or trucks, and then you're in business for yourself. That's Jose Valdez's idea, commander of logistics, and at home with the family all of his life. Yikes. And then this is the kind of class that I would have at Broward College. And this is done in English and in Spanish, because Oscar actually came in. He showed me this exact kind of idea. We didn't have the ability to make an actual AI pizza chatbot as a person, but he showed me a voice chatbot, and I literally asked, what kind of vegan options do you have for the pizza? And it knew exactly what to say. So you ingest all the stuff about all the pizzas. So it's an ordering system that sounds so natural. And what I'm going to suggest every single company, if you got that janky thing, like every one of the doctors I went to that ask you if you want it in Spanish, and it goes on for 20 minutes before you get to do anything, get rid of that. Put one of these in there. Hire Oscar, baby. We can get this done. And then make it a person. Make the person your choice. I want to talk to a cute looking, Hispanic guy. All right. So you go for a 2-week class and you can install these puppies. They're that easy these days. 11 Labs is making that true. Let's say that you work as an EMT, emergency medicine, HUD diagnostics. So this is what it would look like. The patient, Sarah, she's female, born in 1982. It should give the age right there. It gives you all the information of all the devices simultaneously as it's checking with the doctor at the hospital, who is seeing everything. And it's located the parents and told them where to go, because you have a Life Force device that does all of that. Wow. Data at your fingertips. So fingertip scan, eye scan. If you're unconscious, it could be a little chip. It could be this little thing I have in my arm that's checking my glucose 24/7. That could be available to this man to give on the spot understanding of what just happened. He could look back at what I just ate. And then if he sees I just ate chicken and it's halfway down my throat, I'm choking on chicken bone. Boom, right? What medications am I taking? What problems do I have? Holy cow, why don't we have this already? If you want to change glass holes into glass heroes, this is it. So this is Glass Hero. In fact, that's my new name for it. So if you're paving streets, so you've got people that, how many roads are still under construction Brandon, in Cleveland. In Miami, it's every road that I've driven all of my life, the same roads. Yeah, that's it, right? And they always do it in rush hour, or they block everything and there's nothing going on there. So have a system that pulls out the thing and diverts you already, and everybody wakes up in the morning. It's going to take this long, but we've already made a diversion path, and it could build a road real quickly. This has already happened in China. They've done 258 kilometers of complete road with just 5 guys, 5 people. I'll use people. Thank you. And then every road gets paved at the worst times when nobody's on them. And then only for a few seconds because it's faster, better, cheaper. That's what all of us want. We're all going to benefit from that. So instead of a roofer, and we used to do this thing for the Miami Herald. We spent an hour doing the weirdest jobs and for a couple of hours. So I went into the emergency room. I went with a bag boy. We basically photographed what people were doing. So I got on top of a roof in the hot summer, wearing waiter boots, putting hot tar with a giant mop. Let me tell you about the worst damn smell that never gets off your body. About even with gloves and everything else, you got tar in all parts of your body. You know what that smells like. Now imagine that there's a robot arm you put up there. You just put it up there and then it makes itself. And we talked about self-creating houses and stuff like that. So yeah, then you're an entrepreneur. Then you're making big bucks. So obviously not all of these jobs are going to be, if you have 1,000 people, get replaced by 10 AI enabled people. There's going to be places where you're not going to have to. So your power is going to be moved over to a place where we have a massive loss of people. Taking care of the elderly is going to be a huge number of human-only jobs in America. Already is. So all the things you need. My roommate went to get a driver's license. Now she went at 8 o'clock in the morning, went on a Tuesday. So that was the best time. But if she had gone any other time, her next appointment would be a month away, right before she had to have it. And then when she got there, because she had bifocal glasses, so one eye is different than the other, right? She could not pass the test because she didn't have her glasses on. She can see street signs, but when you bring it close up, it doesn't work. Anyway, long story short, she had to drive home 2 hours, came back, and still got her driver's license. Why should we ever have to go to driver's license? Take a picture of my face, get my biometrics, do an eye exam right there, boom, solve it. And it's 4 hours if you go there on a Saturday. Think about that. License plate. Anybody standing in line for a catalytic converter for exhaust thing? Remember that? The EPA had them in Florida. There were long lines for hours and hours. You had to go once a year even, I think it was in a while. So yeah, all the dumb stuff. Should you be using, Recessa Annie? No, you should be working on a pumping heart with all the problems that you know what's going on, right? And then, so there's basically train the professors, mobilize the community, chambers of commerce and city halls, and then let's start upskilling USA. Protect the middle class, prevent mass unemployment, and build an AI-ready workforce. And we do that with 20 hours of online development, professional development, for every professor at every place on the planet, actually. We're going to do the same thing for just human beings. So you can passively take this class for free because it would be federally funded. So you get an idea what it is. And then people in your area, in education, in legal, would then put expert videos that are paid for to be put out by the government. If you're in the legal profession, if you're in nursing, here are the best things that you can do. And then there'll be chatbots that have skills already loaded up to make you better, faster, and cheaper. So education for all, a true middle-class born system. And the GI Bill for the AI age is after World War II, if you did not know this. If you came back as a veteran, you had your full college degree paid for. So that means if you were an emergency operator, a doctor on the front lines in Korea, that my dad worked for at a MASH place, right? You could take that skill, come back to the United States, get a full degree, and also get a zip line trip for emergency medical technicians. So emergency rooms around the United States got better because every person that went to war and learned how to do that came back with super skills from actually doing it every single day, something you could never get in any other way. And the same thing with our airline pilots. 80% of airline pilots got trained by the U.S. government in the Air Force. And they come back and they make $250,000 to $500,000 a year. And there's not enough of them. I mean, I want to do that, right? So I've already done this. At Broward College, I created the AI Institute. I did 20 hours of professional development for 250 of our 3,000. We just ran out of money because they had to get paid for coming and doing it, and I had to get paid for being there and doing it. Now, I was paid nothing. I mean, literally less than I get paid at my regular job, but this was my life mission. So, and then the Chamber of Commerce is where I think that all businesses meet. And then AI agents is we train people at community colleges. Again, this is the backbone that creates the middle class in America. We get the agents to do those little, like Oscar did. Here's a chatbot, plug it in. Here's the skills, plug it in. Here's the education. So these are people, AI agents from Upskill America, USA to the power of AI. That's the logo I'm using for both. So you'll have a shirt that will be on your shirt when you come into the room. So I'd be presenting wearing this shirt and probably a nice jacket, something like that. So I look professional. So this is what I did. After I taught the 20 hours of professional develop, I made 6 of these. Now, here's what I taught in one class. How to have fun with your students, scenario prompting. Here's an example. This is one of those 6 videos that you can still watch. So this was 1 2-hour-long class. You could see what AI has done for us. You can look at chatbots and tutors, large language models understanding it. Here's my education. Here's my prompt crafting down at the bottom. What tools are you using? So I did all this, and you can see them all demonstrated. It took 10,000 hours for me to put this together. And this is only one of those 7 ones. This is, I think, episode number 1, which is the most viewed one so far. Go back and see what it was like 2 years ago when this was cutting edge. In fact, watch that little video over the bottom. It talks about how a dog understands large language models or helps you understand large language models. And this I did for the Chamber of Commerce in Hollywood. So they had all the people who were doing hospitality. So the hotels, the cruise ships, everything in Fort Lauderdale. And I made this little guy up as I gave them a whole presentation. There's the presentation. So we got toilet cleaners. We got, these are actually in service right now. I went through over 100 different slides that include these, but even the automated 24-hour service, so you could have room service in a cart like this, instead of having a person at odd hours of the night. It can speak any language. So if you're Chinese and you're staying in America, you don't have to worry about it. That's taken care of. And it can, the pizza bot, there you see it in Spanish as well as a little bit higher resolution version of it. So that's what Upskill USA is in 10 minutes or so. Rebuilding America and the middle class together. We instead of me. All right. So there's a quick little thing about the boardroom. This is the same kind of stuff, but this is a 1940s vintage. So if you're like my notebook LM, I basically took the same information and then I made this the thing. There's the long hard trucker, the warehouse picker, etc., and what their new jobs look like. And this is kind of cool. So if you want to know how style changes information in Notebook LM or all information, take a look at how beautiful this is. So this is my work WPA, which was the Go Back to Work program in the 1940s and 50s, etc., in the style of that. So if you look at the Empire State Building, if you look at all those buildings, all that stuff that was built in America, this is the style from that time period. Then I've added some things. So there you see Coral Springs logo, Coral Springs and Coconut Creek, and the Coconut Creek Regional Chamber of Commerce. So the vanguard, the action, and the proof. So there's a room. That's not me, but it could be, right? And that's what I envisioned, that these are the business people that come from every company, and they have a separate training. At the end, the last 2 hours of 6 hours is you meeting your employees and figuring out how we can do this together. Upskill America for a better, more prosperous middle class. They are what built us, and we together to make it happen. And then we look at who's at risk, and we work through the process of making this happen. So it's a federal GI Bill for funding, community colleges engine, national upskill standards, remote and local professional development for every human being on the planet. There you go. Patient zero, patient hero, still working on that. I was going to update this. I just want to get this in here to talk about what I'm going to be doing at meeting at each point and going from my front door where I went to urgent care all the way through my emergency room to my hospital observation, patient zero to patient hero. I found over 256 points of reference that could be done better. This is what I did for myself. Highly recommend this. Literally stack up all your medication you're taking and then do all of your other things. I have a ton of face moisturizers and stuff like this. My daughter works for, one of the big, I forget what it is. Clinique? Yeah, Clinique. And she's a manager at one of the stores, and she's going back to school, actually. So that I'm really happy for her. Hopefully she'll go to NSU. So that'll be kind of cool. But anyway, do this for yourself. Photograph everything you got. And then this is what I gave to my doctor. Do this right now. So they know everything I'm taking. I don't have to sit there and regurgitate this over and over again. I do the same thing after you get out. There's all my numbers. I don't know what this means. So the portal that I used today to get all my information, because they sent me over 97 emails. I'm not joking. And you know the reason why I'm going to Tijuana is they want me to have 7 different office visits, paying $25 per visit to do all this invasive stuff. I'm going to get that done in one day in Mexico. And then I'm going to do everything else I ever wanted to do. So it's 3 different specialists that I have to get a paper to go do it. Turns out 60% of my bill, which is going to only be $1,200, is going to be paid by my insurance company because I called them.
And 95 of those 97 emails were explanations of benefits.
Yes, and bullshit about, you need to eat better, sleep better, and what are you talking
and one
about?
of them was asking you to make a donation to the charity that they're also running.
And then also say, do the same for food, and then there's my issues, right? Skin changes, so biotin's good so it tells you what does what and why. So if you don't know what potassium citrate is and what it's good for, so it's okay for short-term blood levels, but not safe all the time unless your doctor says so. So here's stuff I was taking. I was evidently taking not enough vitamin D, and I was taking potassium citrate, which it's like for leg cramps, more or less, basically. But give it to me in English, baby. So that's just me doing it, right? So here's just a little video. This is a Notebook LM. Make sure you confirm, Brandon, that you can hear this. I'm going to play 2 real quickly, and then I'm going to move on quickly.
Every so often, a thinker comes along who just seems to operate on a completely different timeline. Today, we're going to dive into the life and ideas of one of those minds, Rick McCauley. He's like a modern-day architect of tomorrow, trying to help us all navigate this wild new world of AI.
So let's just start with the one question that drives basically everything he does. It's not about next quarter or even next year. The question is, how do you plan for the year 2165? I mean, think about that. While most of us are just trying to figure out next month, this exact question is the engine for his life's work. It's all about taking responsibility for a future we will never, ever see.
So how does someone even begin to think on that kind of scale? Well, to really get his future-focused mindset, we have to go all the way back to the beginning, to the very first stage of his journey, becoming the witness. See, long before McCauley was an architect of the future, his job was to capture reality exactly as it was. As a photojournalist for the Miami Herald, he was literally on the front lines of history. He was even part of the team that won a Pulitzer Prize for covering the devastation of Hurricane Andrew. His entire world was about bearing witness to what is.
And that drive to bear witness, where did that come from? It actually started at home with a question his father asked him every single day. He was born into a family that was just steeped in service. His grandfather was in World War I, his uncle was killed in World War II, his dad was in the Korean War. So this question, it wasn't just a suggestion. It became his internal compass, his North Star.
Now, every story has a turning point, right? For a man who dedicated his life to capturing reality, his came when he found a tool that could actually create it. This is the chapter he calls the new camera.
This was his big call to adventure. He had this profound epiphany. AI could be his new camera. But instead of just documenting the world as it is, this incredible new tool could be used to build the world as it could be.
His focus completely shifted from capturing reality to actually creating new ones.
He just captures the stakes of this moment so perfectly with this metaphor. He says, we have a rocket ship in the driveway, but we haven't yet developed the fine motor skills of a hummingbird's wings. It's that incredible gap between immense raw power and the delicate, precise control we need that really defines our current moment.
So, when you have a rocket ship in your driveway, what do you do with it? For Macaulay, this kicked off a period of really intense experimentation. He was launching these ambitious moonshots while at the same time staring directly into what he calls the abyss. His moonshots were incredibly ambitious. I mean, he built an AI guide to help new immigrants settle into America. He architected a plan to retrain the entire workforce called Upskill USA, and he even partnered with FEMA on a disaster response system. Every single one was aimed at a very real, very human problem. But, and this is a big but, he's painfully aware that the same tool for creation can just as easily be used for destruction. He forces himself to stare right into what he calls the digital abyss, this world of social media echo chambers, biased algorithms, and all these new forms of digital exploitation. The stakes just couldn't be higher. Standing at that crossroads, between creation and destruction, what guides your next step? It was right here, after facing both the incredible potential and the terrifying peril, that Macaulay developed a unified framework to steer the rocket ship. He calls it a philosophy of grace. His personal compass is this amazing Japanese concept of ikigai, his reason for being. It's all about finding that perfect sweet spot where your passions, your skills, and the needs of the world all come together. It's how he makes sure all of his work is aligned with his core mission. And the ethical bedrock for that mission, it comes from this ancient wisdom. The 7 generations principle forces him to ask, are the things I'm building today going to be a gift, or are they going to be a burden for my great-great-great-grandchildren in the year 2165? It all ties back together. And all of this culminates in his ultimate vision, which he calls building a machine of loving grace. And for Macaulay, you have to understand, this isn't just some abstract idea. It is deeply personal. After watching his own mother battle Alzheimer's for 7 long years, he was driven to channel that experience into building a future where technology truly serves and supports our humanity. So what does this philosophy look like in practice? Well, the wisdom from his journey really boils down to 4 actionable principles. It's like a practical guide for anyone trying to build with purpose in this new age. And that brings us to the final part of his philosophy, where the wisdom he's gained becomes a call to action for all of us. It's our turn to fly. He offers this absolutely brilliant flip on that iconic JFK quote, and it's perfectly tailored for our time. His challenge to us is to stop being passive consumers of technology and to become active, responsible creators. The question isn't, what can the machine do for you, but what are you going to do with it? Ultimately, his message is this: we built the engine. We're the ones holding its power in our hands. But the choices, the moral choices, the creative choices about where to steer it, that responsibility remains fundamentally, unshakably human. The navigation is ours. So in the end, he turns the question right back to all of us, because that rocket ship, it's not just in his driveway anymore, it's in all of our driveways. The only question left is, where will you fly it?
I love that. I mean, that just sums it up. And I think if you didn't know who I am, now you do. So I got one more for you.
Right now, there is a pervasive anxiety that artificial intelligence is an unstoppable, autonomous force moving in to take our jobs and dictate our future. But Senior Professor Rick Macaulay looks at this exact same technology and sees something entirely different. To him, AI is a rocket ship for the mind. There is a catch, though. A rocket ship sitting on the launch pad doesn't go anywhere on its own. It requires a pilot. It requires humans to step up and act as the creative directors of the technology, telling it exactly where to go. To prove this, Macaulay established the Imagine a World Foundation. Their mission is to launch 9 major moonshot applications, all deliberately designed to keep human beings in the pilot seat. This entire vision is built on a single powerful premise: that we are born with responsibilities to steward the tools we create. If we accept the responsibility to pilot this technology, AI won't replace humanity, it will amplify it. Consider how we currently handle natural disasters. For decades, the standard response has been chaotic and reactive, leaving vulnerable communities scrambling for safety at the very last minute. One of Macaulay's moonshots, an application called Rescue Connect, flips this model. Using an AI assistant named Rescue Randy, the platform allows citizens to proactively plan out their entire disaster response months or even a full year in advance. The system automates emergency supply chains by pre-coordinating with entities like FEMA, Home Depot, and Uber long before a storm ever makes landfall. On an individual level, families can secure their vital identification and insurance documents in a protected cloud vault. They can even reserve an evacuation route and a shelter that specifically accommodates their pets. And when the traditional power grid inevitably fails, the platform switches to a built-in satellite communication failsafe, keeping people connected and guided through the darkest parts of the crisis. By leveraging AI for logistics and communication, people are no longer waiting helplessly for rescue. They become the active directors of their own recovery. That same proactive approach applies to our biggest economic anxiety, the threat of massive job displacement as corporations adopt automation to cut their overhead costs. To counter this, Macaulay's team designed Upskill USA. It is framed as the GI Bill for the AI age, a massive educational initiative designed specifically to retrain the American middle class. This diagram outlines the program's structural foundation. It relies on a local nexus point that connects a community college to train the educators, a city hall to host the policy, and a chamber of commerce to engage local employers. In practice, this means holding intensive 6-hour workshops where business owners and their employees sit side by side.
Oh, shoot. Sorry about that.
Learning how to practical AI workflows for their specific jobs. When a local nurse completes this training, she uses her newly acquired AI skills to analyze patient data faster and more accurately, drastically improving breast cancer screening rates in her community. Investing in the people who already know the business leads directly to higher productivity and better pay. It proves that a trained, upskilled workforce is entirely irreplaceable. This philosophy of human-directed technology scales down from national economics right into the highly intimate day-to-day challenges we all face. Take the Hello USA application. It features a 24/7 AI tutor named Liberty, which creates a fully transparent step-by-step pathway for new immigrants navigating the complex civics and language requirements of the American citizenship process. Or consider Life Force One, an AI sublayer designed for the home. It acts as a secure, private hub that organizes the daily chaos of family life, managing everything from complex daily schedules to ancestral health data. Whether helping a family integrate into a new country or simply organizing a household, these tools demonstrate how AI becomes most effective when it is purpose-built for human needs. The Imagine a World Foundation presents these applications as a comprehensive blueprint for elevating the human condition. Taking control of this technology requires us to completely shift our mindset and adopt the perspective of history's great thinkers. As Macaulay frames it, we must ask not what AI can do for us, but what we are going to do with AI. This brings us back to the core idea that we are born with profound responsibilities. Our duty is to direct these tools so that they add lasting, meaningful value to the world for the next 7 generations. The technology on the launchpad doesn't have to dictate our future. By taking the controls, we ensure that humanity flourishes in the age of artificial intelligence. Imagine a world like that.
Pretty cool, huh? So this is how I'm imagining it. This is my new website that'll be launching pretty soon. You can see that's a basic thing about me. On the right-hand side, you'll see AITV Starship, which will be an integrated part. I'm also going to have on my website that you can watch all of these, including all of the other things, fed in from my YouTube channel, but organized in structure so you can get to exactly what you want to do quicker. So that means if you're there to look at 20 hours of professional development for professors across the United States at community colleges, it's going to be there in that purpose-built space. At the bottom, these are my 2 sets of star missions. So you've got Upskill USA, Hello USA, Rescue Connect. I have an underwater reef where I'm working with a bunch of underwater scientists from around the world, including Denise Herzig, who has been for 40 years studying language of dolphins right off the coast of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and Bimini. Life Force One, we talked about. Education, my rocket ship for the mind, designing educational experiences you see in the picture of the bridge. The CARE app, which is for people with disabilities. So it's every kind of disabilities, and it's basically just aggregating knowledge and information and community building. CARE stands for community first, aggregation of resources and embellishments, right? So then we've got education. So everybody K through 12, it's for educating the educators and how they can use it. And imagine the world is an actual duplicate of planet Earth, which will be an aggregator of all problems. So that means hurricanes and the earthquakes that happened in Venezuela. It will be everybody's got something to give, money, time, expertise, and then it aggregates all the funds together. So if you have a dog sniffing AI robot or the cockroach ones, and you want to go through the buildings and you've got that ready to go, you just sign up. It tells you where to go, buys your tickets, and you just get on board. So it solves the world's problems one at a time, just by us all becoming part of Imagine Nation. So what I'm doing with these STAR missions is I want to put all of this right at NSU. They are the nexus point for every educational facility down here. Miami-Dade Community College, which is the largest AI institute happening right now. You can check your voice there, Brandon, if you could silence. So it's a place that all this comes together. What I'm doing to fund it is what you're going to see next, which is my music, my children's book, my Abracadabra Brigade, the greatest show on earth, and more and more and more every day. So it's all of my arts and all of my money-making proposition that will feed Imagine Nation. I want the Starship missions to be featured at NSU. I want to have their guidance and putting it at the Levin Center under Mr. Bartik, who also is an immigrant from Russia. In 1989, he moved here. He's become a serial entrepreneur of just an unimaginable power, making companies just launch. So he's the one that's going to be put in charge of doing this. And I'm going to gift the entire Imagine Nation, Imagine a World Foundation, my nonprofit, to them. I'm going to have them set it up, and I'm just going to be on the board of people that get it done. So since I've got a lot of work put into this already, I'm going to invite all my Rocketeers to come with me, like Brandon and Dr. Claire and everybody else, to come on as consultants, and then use the power of the entire NSU, which include my kids went to elementary school, to middle school, and high school at a Nova-created educational system created with the educators that had a different thinking about education, and they built real educational facilities. So NSU knows exactly what they're doing. They're right across from Broward College and share this area called the campus. FAU, FIU, University of Florida are all in the exact same area in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So I don't know what God had in mind for me, but I can't tell you how powerful it feels that I've now put all the pieces together. And I know exactly who the right people are. I know that me coming across Henry Mack when he was working at Broward College, and I helped set up the entrepreneurial experience. He was a man I met who's now the Assistant Department of Labor Secretary for the United States government. He was the Chancellor of Education in the state of Florida. So that beautiful man came into my life, as did the Executive Director of the Levin Center, Mr. Bartik. And he also is running MIT. He's an alumni of MIT. So I went into a conference that I landed in accidentally because I was down there every week for different events they have for free. And it was 30 professors from MIT. And he was basically talking about the future in AI. And they've got robots there. They've got hologram people that are going to be cloned. They've got a podcasting studio, which I will be working from there. So all I ask for is just enough money, and I'll teach whatever classes I want to teach there. And I really would love to take a humanities class and teach it to everybody, every educator at NSU, and then have everybody every summer and do this for the rest of my life. Somehow, my dad sits in my ear and he said, "What have you done for the good of your nation today, son?" And I'll say, "Dad, a nation's too small for me to think about because I'm out to do something good for the world. I am born of service every day to be a better version of myself. and to gift my ikigai, my why, my reason for being on this earth, and to be so fortunately triangulated between at least 10 different rocketeers that are helping me do this for no money or very little, a lot less than their people are worth, and to be able to dedicate my life to even launching one of these successfully. All I ask, if you're watching this, is join me. And as the Imagine song is by John Lennon, imagine a world. You're not the only one. So if you believe in this the way I do, bring whatever talents you got. We'll find a way to use them. If you've got an ability to use lovable, like Brandon does, the lovable Brandon Rocketeer, I've actually started to gift names to everyone. Let them decide what their name is. What's your gift? And I will call you by your gift in honor of what you contribute to everybody's better world. Think about the world. If we all, imagine our politicians thinking about 7 generations in the future. Imagine every business being born to think about putting back more from the earth than they extracted from it. Imagine that they donated to these causes, all of these, and they paid for them. Imagine that they made sure every one of their employees got a college education for their grandchildren and enough money to have a dignified life. Imagine if all of us just stood up and did one small good deed. Just do something, whatever it is you got a skill to do. Do it, and then imagine a world along with me. I'm not the only one. And so there I am, and this is the abracadabra. Here's just some fun stuff I did recently. The Dangerous Man album is coming out, and I'm gonna end the show. I think, yeah, we're pretty much out of time. So this is just, I think this is a beautiful portrait. My job is right now, I'm going to go there. I mean, made a little bit of facial reconstruction, but I think the bones are there. I want to look like that. I want to get the hair back and whatever. Here's just some fun images I made recently. Then this is the Dangerous Man. So I'm going to play us out with this song. Now you've seen this, so I'm not going to play this right now, but these are some of the songs. And this is the Dangerous Man song. This is Good Trouble for Renee Green. Here is the video.
Goes up after a siren, and there's a kind of man that shows up after the silence. This is for Renee Nicole Good. Hey, hey. Snow on the curb like a clean white lie. Morning breath, school drop off, trying to get by. Hands on the wheel, heart on the line. Just a mother moving through a working day's grind. Then the world turns sharp on a Minneapolis street. Diamonds in a storm, boots in the sleet. At a moment crack like glass in the cold. When the law forgot the life it's supposed to hold. Don't tell me procedure. When a child needs a mom, don't dress up terror in a uniform. Come. If power has a soul, it better speak, or the streets will do the praying for the weak. Whoa, say her name, Renee Good. Let it ring through the neighborhood. Light a candle, tell the truth, we won't unsee what happened to you. No more collateral, misunderstood. No more fear, stand for the public good. If justice means what we swore it should, then we rise. Good trouble for Renee Good. I'm not hunting revenge, I'm hunting the reckoning. A nation can't heal while it keeps on weaponing. It's panic, it's politics, it's hunger for control, while mothers pay the price and children lose the hope. You can't call it safety if the innocent bleed. You can't call it order if it feeds on need. You can't call it freedom if it closes its eyes, while a family's future gets swallowed by lies. Who do we protect when we protect the badge? Who do we bury when we bury the rage? If power won't listen, we'll make it here with love that's loud and a conscience clear. Say her name, Renee Good. Let it ring what we swore it should. Then we rise. Good trouble for Renee Good. I've seen empires built on just doing my job. I've seen paperwork turn into a sob. So here's my vow, and you can hold me to it. We won't look away, we won't get used to it. We won't look away, we won't get used to it. Accountability ain't a headline, it's a habit. It's a community refusing to swallow the tragic and call it normal. Say her name, Renee Good. Let it ring through the neighborhood. Hands together, hearts awake. We don't forget what they tried to take. We'll build a country where mercy's understood, where power serves like it said it would, and every child gets what they should. A living mother, so we rise. Good trouble for Renee Good. Good trouble for Renee Good. Good trouble for the kids in the backseat, for the witnesses. Good trouble for the better angels we keep talking about. Good trouble. Now it's time to be them. Now it's time to be them.
I'm Rick McCauley, the dangerous man, the OG, the original intelligence. Yeah, we got one more.
They told me wait.
This is going to end our show.
They told me pray for a sign. They said the world don't need fixing. Boy, stay inside the line. I was born with thunder in my chest. So I walked out the door they said was locked, and I never asked again. I think 7 generations forward, I carry names now dead born. Catastrophe, brother, I was made for this storm. I'm getting into good trouble. Necessary trouble. Righteous God. I'm walking the hero journey. Just unwilling to retire. Responsibility, my creed. I change the world because no one told me that I can, that I won't,
That I don't have what it needs.
Anyway, I'm gonna pause you here, just because the audio is coming in real sketchy on this one. It's not coming through clear at all.
Okay. We'll replace it out, I guess.
Well, Luke don't leave till the body's burning. Frodo never asked for a war. But I don't need a dragon at my gate to know what must be done. I don't need the world to fall apart. I don't wait for the village to burn down. I was dangerous from birth. Truth be told, I'm getting into good trouble. Necessary trouble. Holy rain. I'm getting the hero's journey. Ain't asking to be saved. Responsibility, my flame. I changed the world. No one told me that a man can't rewrite his own way. You can wait for permission. You can wait for the call. You can wait till disaster makes you feel like you have no choice at all. But you can understand
but the cowards never will. The door was never locked. The power was never theirs to give. And the only thing you're waiting for is your own will. We're getting into good trouble. Heroes running. Love is our standard.
Okay, so Brandon, I think that's it.
All right.
So a couple things. I think we'll just edit
That's
in
all
the
your computer can take.
I'll put the 2 videos on the source for you. So just drop that in. I want that last hour basically starting at the Upskill USA. So I'm going to send that to over to. I'm going to edit down a little bit tighter and send that to NSU so they have a good idea, and then we'll post that separately. So that first video is already on our AITV Starship channel. So Rick McCauley, go over there, like and subscribe, please. I'm Rick McCauley, and with Brandon, namaste to you all. Beautiful God inside each and every one of you. Make sure that you make it a more beautiful world. Imagine if we all just did one tiny kindness for each other. So be kind, be beautiful people. Think about 7 generations and what your gift is, and start giving it away, baby, because you can't take it with you. And it's the most powerful thing you can do as a legacy to the world is to just be beautiful human beings, getting better at being that every single day. Every one of us has superpowers. You got a rocket ship in your mind. Good night. Love y'all. Take care.
Good night.
Woo. And we're off.
Welcome to AITV Starship.